Kat comes home venting about Eva, but Chelsea bursts to tell her cousin her own news. She doesn't have the BRCA gene. She calls Naomi to tell her and asks about her own results. Naomi says there's nothing to worry about, but her expression doesn't exactly inspire confidence. Naomi invites her sister to join her and Jacob for lunch at the club, and then puts Jacob off when he wants to check her results. Naomi rushes to Bill's table to relay the news and tells him she hasn't received her results yet. When a concerned Jacob presses Naomi, she tells him she needs to do this on her own time. After Dani gets Chelsea's text, they arrive at the country club to champagne, courtesy of Naomi. There's some confusion over Naomi's results, leading Dani to confront her eldest daughter. "Did you get your results or not?" Naomi admits she didn't, and pulls them up. Her face falls as she looks at her screen, and she takes a deep breath. She turns with a bright smile. "All good!" As the family celebrates, Jacob makes a toast to Naomi's and Chelsea's health and strength. Naomi sips her champagne and looks off thoughtfully. Ted and Shanice passionately make out on his office couch and start ripping off each other's clothes. His buzzing phone interrupts them, allowing him the opportunity to pull away. He suggests they go out for a nice date instead, because she's more than just a quickie on a couch. Despite Derek obviously lurking mere feet away from them, Grayson and Ashley flirt, oblivious to his presence. Derek follows Grayson into the elevator and peppers him with questions about how he knows his friend, Ashley. Derek then meets Jan for coffee and, maybe not so innocently, lets slip that her daughter is dating someone new. Shanice tries to act professional when she rejoins Ashley at the nurse's hub, but Ashley notes her top is inside out. A smirking Ashley digs for information on Ted as the handsome doctor appears. He takes Shanice aside to properly invite her to dinner tomorrow night. They try to hide their flirty smiles as they separate, leading Ashley to gloat about how right she was. Jan marches into the hospital to confront Ashley about her dating someone new. She worries she's rushing into something and cautions her to go slow so as not to get hurt. Ashley tells her mother to take it down a notch. She's just having some fun. At Orphe Jeans, Ted runs into Andre, who is leaving soon for a photo shoot in New York. He doesn't feel great about leaving Dani right now, but she wants them to live life as usual. When Andre detects that his uncle appears brighter, Ted admits he has a date with Shanice and raves about the nurse. He knows it's too early to speculate where it might lead, but he's looking forward to finding out. Eva vents to Isaiah about Kat over lunch at Uptown. She's not just mad at Kat, though, but herself for reaching out at all. Isaiah knows that whoever doesn't reciprocate her love is missing out, namely her sister. He might not be blood, but he sees her and is there for her. Beyond the Gates creator, head writer, and executive producer, Michelle Valjean, is currently on a well-deserved vacation and staying at the Four Seasons. Still, work always seems to interrupt things, although this time, Valjean is likely loving it. Her show, Beyond the Gates, got nominated for 2 NBOACP awards while she was taking a break from the show. As such, the hotel did something sweet and delicious to acknowledge their guest's achievement. Beyond the Gates got nominated in 2 NBOACP categories, Outstanding Hairstyling and Outstanding Drama Series. The second NOACP nod is the first time a daytime drama has ever landed in this category, which is quite an accomplishment. This type of thing deserves major applause, so while Valjean is on vacation, the Four Seasons thought of something super special to surprise her with. Valjean hopped on the social media platform X to show BTG fans and followers what the hotel did to celebrate her show's NAACP nominations. Valjean uploaded a photo of some desserts on a table, with what appears to be a framed photo of her behind a Beyond the Gates banner, along with a note from the Four Seasons assistant chef concierge, Malia Jost. Valjean's X caption read, "Look at this hilarious amenity from the Four Seasons. I love it here, #Beyond the Gates, BTG." Zeroing in on the photo, the note said, "Hola Michele, we could let this remarkable milestone pass without further celebration." It went on to say, "Congratulations once again on this extraordinary nomination. Please enjoy this fully edible chocolate frame created in your honor. All my best, Malia Jost. What a thoughtful and yummy gift idea for a woman who deserves all the accolades in the world right now. But will Michelle end up eating the chocolatey masterpiece? Only one person can answer that question. Next week, a special episode featuring the cast debuts in place of a regular episode on Beyond the Gates. It'll pull back the curtain on the show, featuring the actors as they spill the tea on their favorite moments, the spectacular drama that's unfolded over the last year, and the rookie soap's biggest secrets. Expect chaos, confrontations, and awkward celebrations the rest of the week. Vanessa's in for a turbulent few days. Early in the week, she'll spread some scandalous info, but by the end, she gets accosted. Will she be okay? Meanwhile, Leslie goes after Shanice, Jacob goes undercover, and Ashley calls Derek out on his sabotage. Here's what else is happening on BTG, the week of January 19 to 23. BTG spoiler alert. Here are your Beyond the Gates spoilers for the week of Monday, January 19th, 2026, to Friday, January 23rd, 2026. Be sure to tune in to CBS every weekday to see how everything plays out in Fairmont Crest. Beyond the Gates. Inside Fairmont Crest, special episode that pulls back the curtain on Beyond the Gates with commentary from the actors as they relive their storylines, including all of Season 1's explosive affairs, shocking cons, and family secrets. Tuesday, January 20th. Anita returns home from chemo and learns Vernon's been lying to her. The Hamiltons have an awkward celebration. Joey puts Leslie in her place. Vanessa shocks Nicole with some scandalous info. Chelsea's new lease on life causes friction with Madison. Wednesday, January 21st. Kat and Ted argue over Eva, while Naomi hides her new normal from her entire family. Vanessa propositions Kial. Jacob clashes with Marcel and Elon. Smitty and Martin are surprised by Tyrell's latest stance on a family tradition. Thursday, January 22nd. Dani opens up to Bill and then makes a surprising move. Haley feels cornered. Vanessa is accosted. Joey gives Elon some much-needed intel. Two couples take the next step in their relationships by the end of the night. Friday, January 23rd. Anita leans on Sharon. Bill buys Tomasi silence. Leslie confronts Shanice over Ted. Dani and Pamela set their sights on Isaiah. Ashley calls Derek out on his sabotage, while Jacob begins his undercover mission. Watch full episodes of Beyond the Gates weekdays on CBS or stream on Paramount+. Here's what went down Friday, January 16, 2026 on Beyond the Gates. When Derek revisited his grade school days and played the tattletale, Eva got tired of her white flags getting stained, and Chelsea was positive about being negative. On Beyond the Gates, Eva refused Isaiah's affections because she was still too torqued off about Kat rejecting her latest attempt to reach out to her. Isaiah was sorry that Eva had been shot down again. Eva declared that she was done trying to connect to her bitch of a sister. Eva got quiet, and Isaiah encouraged her to open up to him, after which she conceded that she was also mad at herself. She had only gone to Kat because she'd known how much the gesture would mean to Ted, yet the move had proven her a naive fool. Isaiah recalled that Eva had expressed how much she had wanted a sister growing up. "Dumb, huh?" Eva scoffed. Isaiah felt that Kat was depriving herself of an incredible sister and counseled Eva to focus on the people who were happy to embrace her. Eva kissed Isaiah when he said he would be there for her. "I do love me some dark chocolate," Shanice said breathily, as she and Ted began taking off their clothes in his office. But when Ted's phone buzzed, it popped him back to reality, and he told Shanice that they can't do this. Shanice took that to mean Ted wanted to keep things professional, but the plastic surgeon clarified that Shanice was worth more than a quickie on his office couch. He mentioned the dinner package he had won at Winterfest and asked Shanice to join him at Obelisk, one of the town's fancier restaurants. She agreed and went back out to the nurse's station, declining to answer Ashley's questions about any relationship she might be having with Ted. However, to Shanice's horror, Ashley noticed that Shanice had her scrubs on inside out. At Orphe Jeans, Ted found Andre, who was prepping to work a photo shoot in New York. The shutterbug was loath to leave Dani in the wake of her learning she carried the BRCA gene mutation, and without her knowing if Chelsea and or Naomi had inherited it, Though he was aware that Dani had stipulated that they live their lives normally, Ted thanked his nephew for his words of wisdom regarding making things up with Carlton and recognizing that Nicole was moving on with her life. When Ted said that he was now giving himself permission to go forward as well, Andre noted that Ted's whole vibe was brighter than it had been. Ted revealed that he had a date. Andre tried to guess the lady's identity and hoped it wasn't Leslie, but Ted adamantly informed Andre that his date was Shanice. Andre was happy for Ted as he reflected that, despite having worked with Shanice for years, he was seeing her in a new light. He found her thoughtful, insightful, and sexy. Ted knew it was far too early to get too hopeful, but he was looking forward to seeing what happened with the nurse's supervisor. Grayson had taken Ashley aside at the nurse's station and was telling her that she was gorgeous in her scrubs and out of them. Unbeknownst to both of them, Derek was watching the flirtatious interaction. Once Ashley went on rounds and Grayson headed to the elevator, Derek followed the lab tech in and engaged him in trivial conversation, eventually asking Grayson how he knew Ashley. Grayson wasn't particularly forthcoming and turned the inquiry around on Derek, who said he had known Ashley for years without divulging their former romantic involvement. After parting ways with Grayson, Derek called Jan and had her meet him at the food court. Jan asked about Derek's work. He replied that he was still on desk duty, but that his next physical could indicate that he was ready to return to fighting fires. Jan excitedly talked about Owen, the man she had met on the cruise, and Derek used the opportunity to mention that she and Ashley clearly had a lot to talk about, given their expanding social lives. Jan was confused until Derek slipped that Ashley was seeing someone from the hospital and that they were being openly affectionate with each other. Derek allowed himself a slight smile when Jan suddenly announced that there was somewhere she had to be. Ashley was shocked when Jan arrived at the hospital, immediately confronting her about the new man she hadn't talked about. Jan was not pleased to hear Ashley admitting that she was just having a little fun. When Jan at least hoped that Ashley was taking things slow, Shanice audibly smirked. Ashley understood that her mother didn't want her to get hurt again, the way she had with Derek and Andre, but held firm that she was enjoying having new experiences. After Ashley stressed that she couldn't have such a conversation at work, Jan worried about her vulnerable daughter having rebound sex and promised that the chat wasn't over. At Dani's guest house, Kat complained to Chelsea about fake heifer Eva making like she wanted to lend an ear. But Chelsea was more interested in letting her cousin know that she had tested negative for the BRCA gene mutation. The cousins were excited and grateful, but Chelsea said she couldn't fully relax until she knew that Naomi didn't carry the variant either. Naomi was still at the country club with Jacob, who was surprised that Naomi had been nice to Haley. After Naomi shrugged that there wasn't much point in continuing to engage in open hostility with her former friend and current stepmother, she received a call from Chelsea, who passed along her negative test result. When Chelsea wanted to know if her sister had received her own results, Naomi smiled that there was nothing to worry about and dreamed up an impromptu party at the club to celebrate. Jacob deduced that Naomi's results should be ready since Chelsea knew what hers had read and offered to access Naomi's health portal from his phone. Instead, Naomi jumped up to tell Bill that Chelsea was in the clear, though Bill thought it odd when Naomi claimed she hadn't gotten her results at the same time as her sister. After Naomi wiggled her way out of Bill's questions and ran off to talk to the chef about the party, Bill picked up his phone to call Dani, which Haley advised against. Bill grumbled that Haley had no ability to respect that his life included his daughters, and yes, his ex-wife, especially considering the current situation. Haley countered that she simply was of the opinion that Chelsea should share her own news with Dani, the way Naomi had. She also made the point that only Dani could relate to what Naomi and Chelsea were going through, since Bill wasn't personally affected by the BRCA gene. Bill quietly acquiesced by putting his phone away. Jacob tracked his wife down in the hallway, noting that she wasn't in conference with the chef as she said she would be. Naomi confessed that she had needed a moment to clear her head. Telling Naomi that he knew she was avoiding her test results, and him, he added that he felt destroyed when something was hurting her. Naomi let down her wall a bit and said that she didn't deserve Jacob. The lawyer went on to say that she hadn't been expecting the test results that day, and she didn't want to see them for the first time in a country club filled with people. Jacob understood and nodded that she could look at the results later. Dani and Chelsea joined Bill and Haley, with Dani and Haley exchanging semi-forced niceties. When Chelsea gushed about Naomi's negative result, Bill furrowed a brow, relaying his understanding that Naomi hadn't yet received her own outcome. Dani wanted to get to the bottom of the contradiction and found Naomi and Jacob in the hallway, remarking that she and Nicole had gotten the outcome of their tests at virtually the same time. Naomi shared with her mother and husband that she hadn't looked at her results yet. She just hadn't been ready. Dani remembered how Naomi had been with her when she'd learned that she'd tested positive and wanted to be at Naomi's side no matter what her own results were. Naomi saw that not knowing was killing Dani and logged into her patient portal to read what it had to say. Naomi's face fell, but she turned around and told Dani and Jacob that she was all good. The trio joined this party, where Jacob made a toast to Naomi and Chelsea's continued health and strength. Naomi sipped her champagne, but kept a smile glued to her face. Beyond the Gates airs weekdays on CBS and streams on Paramount+. On Monday, January 19th, the show will be running an installment featuring cast interviews. Regular episodes will resume Tuesday, January 20th. Let's look at what's been turning heads and making noise this week on Beyond the Gates. A quick look at the highlights, best quotes, and gasp-worthy moments for the week ending 16th of January 26. On Beyond the Gates, we finally stopped having polite conversation and began getting real. I don't know about you, but I was about to throw my remote if I had to watch one more scene of Bill smirking while everyone else politely ignored his scheming. Thankfully, the writers heard our collective screams this week. I love Bill's character, and he has to be my joint favorite with Joey Armstrong, played by John Lindstrom, but Tuesday's scene needed to happen, and it was glorious. This wasn't just a fight, it was a long overdue face-to-face, come-to-Jesus conversation. We've watched Bill gas up the entire Dupree clan for months, but seeing Andre drop the dutiful nephew act was immensely satisfying. The best part? Andre didn't just yell, he brought testicular fortitude. Watching him list every single one of Bill's manipulations regarding the business merger was exactly what the doctor ordered. The acting here was great. I loved the way Andre stood his ground, and that too took some doing. Bill is a giant at 195 centimeters tall and looks it in every scene he is in. Andre didn't look unhinged. He looked done. He invaded Bill's personal space and basically dared him to lie again. For the first time, we saw Bill looking genuinely cornered. This won't mark a shift in the power dynamic, but it will put Bill on notice that Andre won't be putting up with his nonsense no more. Thursday's confrontation with Haley could have been another repetitive, stay away from my family speech, and to be fair, we have had plenty of those. Instead, Dani delivered the read of the week. When Haley tried to spin her latest disaster as a misunderstanding, Dani wasn't having it. Dani, you keep trying to burn down my house, Haley, and then you have the audacity to complain about the smoke. Choke on it. It was the delivery that sold it. Quiet, cold, and utterly exhausted. It's the kind of line you want on a t-shirt. Dani didn't raise her voice because she didn't have to. She just let the truth hang there. This take of Kill Bill has to be going somewhere, and I'm definitely not rooting for Haley to come out on top here. Can Joey come to the rescue? Or will it be one of Bill's daughters urging him to go for another checkup that will find something? But please, I'll be sick if Haley wins. Hey, can we talk about Ashley and Grayson for a second as well? I know. It's going to end in tears. But the chemistry in that Friday scene was undeniable. Chelsea's cliffhanger was a nice hook, but I hope the payoff next Monday matches the build-up. Already looking forward to see you next week. Beyond the Gates has centered a significant health issue in their latest track with Anita Dupree, along with the news of her diagnosis coming out recently. It seems to be a genuine and emotive story as the series team up with the Know Your Lemons Foundation to raise awareness of breast cancer. The PSA campaign has already been launched, and there will be additional educational pieces coming soon. Keep scrolling for more. Viewers have been following Anita while she is dealing with the truth of her triple-negative breast cancer. This type is more often seen in Black women. And after it was confirmed, the Dupree family's life turned upside down. Anita sat with her husband, Vernon, and their daughters, Dani and Nicole. She shared everything about her fears and strengths. And now this story will be in focus as the family prepares itself for treatments and testing. Viewers will see the chemotherapy sessions and the emotional strain of waiting for results. The audience will also see the family facing difficult days, marked by hair loss and constant fatigue. The track will also explain the BRCA gene and how it affects not only the women in a family, but also the men. The team want the audience to understand what a diagnosis looks like in real life. Their goal is to pass the information clearly. However, they do not want to lose the emotional truth of what Anita faces. They also explained that health gaps affect Black women. And through Anita, the team wants the audience to recognize the symptoms early, and also to get screened before things move too far. Producers Michelle Valjean and Tracy Thompson also spoke about their intention behind this entire track. They want viewers to understand the importance of early detection, and also the difference regular screenings can make. They want the women who watch the show to trust their instincts. Corinne Ellsworth Beaumont from the Know Your Lemons Foundation also explained that most people do not learn about breast health until they face a problem. And she believes that the partnership with the show will teach the viewers about the 12 symptoms of breast cancer and also offer tools that guide people at home. The Know Your Lemons app gives personalized risk scores and screening plans depending on age and health history. For more Beyond the Gates spoilers and updates, keep following Soap Opera Daily. Beyond the Gates is set for a hectic Friday when the news teasers of Chelsea's fateful declaration keep on circulating on January 16th. Elsewhere, Ted and Shanice are being engulfed more by their bubbling attraction. Moreover, Naomi is trying to keep hold of herself while the external pressure keeps mounting. Continue to read if you want to find out more. Chelsea has been waiting for those test results. However, this timing seems heavier. After she learned about her grandmother's diagnosis and her mother's discovery that she carries the BRCA gene, things have pushed her into a different zone. She has even spoken about it before. Moreover, she also mentioned those impulsive airport trips where she would just pick a destination and go without thinking twice. Elsewhere, Madison was worried for her. Chelsea sounds like she is preparing herself for something bigger. And even the spoilers mentioned that she has major news to share. But could be something due with her test results? Or is she reconsidering her direction in life? Even though she is trying to remain calm, things seem different. Moreover, she also spoke about not wanting to play things safe. And now everyone, including us, is wondering what exactly she is planning to say. And how will the family react once it's revealed? Ted and Shanice have been working towards something, and it has been a while now. In today's episode, they will be pushed closer. Moreover, even their chemistry has been simmering. On the other hand, Naomi too is holding on to her composure. Whatever it is that she is witnessing in her grandmother is a great source of pain for her. Besides that, she is also waiting for her own results. Later, Jacob adds more pressure without understanding that things are so brittle these days. Elsewhere, both Isaiah and Eva are pulled closer again. She's dealing with more family trouble. Also, Isaiah steps in to keep her steady. And then there's Derek, who is watching something he never expected. He sees Ashley spending more time with Grayson after the spark between them. Ashley had already called off their engagement, and now, what would be his next step? For more Beyond the Gates spoilers and updates, keep following Soap Opera Daily. Isaiah and Eva meet up at Uptown. She goes off after her meetup with her bitch of a sister. Eva apologizes for being all kinds of frantic when she arrived. She was just annoyed as Kat continues to brutally rebuff her each and every time she approaches. She is officially done trying to force a relationship that will never be. Isaiah encourages her to focus on the folks in her family with whom she is connecting and the people outside who are her chosen family. With that, they kiss. Kat arrives home and tells Chelsea about meeting up with her heifer of a sister. Chelsea isn't willing to engage as she needs to share the news about her negative BRCA gene test. That being said, she can't relax until she hears the same about Naomi. She gives her sister a call, who is more than evasive about her own news. They all agree to head over to the country club and meet up. Dani arrives to see Chelsea and is thrilled to learn she is negative for the BRCA gene. She has informed Endless Grands of the good news and says she also called Nicole. Dani mentions Naomi and Chelsea gives her the false report her sister is in the clear. Chelsea brings up the country club and they all agree to head over ASAP. Jacob and Naomi are at the club and he wants to pull up her test results on his phone. She puts him off when Naomi heads over to tell her daddy about Chelsea's negative lab results. Bill asks about her, but Naomi says she hasn't gotten them quite yet. Naomi heads back to her table, leading Bill to want to call Dani. Haley pushes back, but Bill says he can and will always be in touch with Dani when it involves their girls. Haley simply says she wants him to give his daughters space to connect with their mother. Bill relents and puts his phone away. Jacob tries to connect with his wife, but Naomi talks all kinds of fast. Before he can connect in any meaningful way, she is up and off to order food. Jacob catches up with his wife and says he wants to know the truth about the BRCA gene so they know what they are facing together. Naomi understands, but says she needs to look at these results herself and alone. Chelsea and Dani arrive at the club and immediately encounter Bill and Haley. Bill is thrilled with his daughter's test results, and Chelsea admits to not realizing how much tension she was holding inside. They talk about Naomi and Bill says she hasn't gotten her results back. Chelsea is confused, and Dani heads off to find Naomi. Dani runs into Jacob and Naomi. She immediately asks what's up with the confusion about the test results. Naomi admits she hasn't looked at her test results. Dani gets it, but wants her to have a loved one around when she does, as it helped her so much. Naomi agrees to check, and has Jacob pull the site up on his phone. She checks, turns, and says everything is all good. Dani and Jacob embrace her, and they head back into the dining room. Afterwards, Dani texts Andre, and they all head back into the dining room. Jacob takes a glass and makes a toast to Chelsea and Naomi and their continued health and strength. Hot Grayson and Ashley are being all flirty at the hospital as Derek watches. Just then, Ashley gets a text, and they agree to meet up later. He heads to the elevator, and Derek follows behind. He takes the opportunity to ask all kinds of questions about his connection to Ashley before they reach their floor. Ted and Shanice are getting all kinds of busy in his office. Just then, Ted hears his phone and says they can't hook up. Shanice panics, throwing her clothes back on and going on and on about how unprofessional she is being. Ted stops her and says they should go to dinner this week, and they agree to meet up the next night. Ashley returns to the desk to find a very distracted and agitated Shanice. Ashley notices her top is on inside out and gets all kinds of cheeky. Shanice runs off to fix her clothing. Just then, Ted arrives and gives Shanice a proper dinner invitation for the next night. She smiles and accepts, and he promises to call her with the details before he makes his exit. Afterwards, Ashley gives her a bit of the business. Derek meets up with Jan at the coffee shop. He says he is almost healed except for his heart. Jan says he can't talk to him about this business, but Derek says he simply wanted to talk to her. He shifts to asking her about the cruise, and Jan admits she thinks the man she met, Owen, is the one for her. Derek takes the opportunity to say she and her daughter have so much in common as they are both seeing new people. Derek goes on about how Ashley and her new beau were being openly affectionate at the hospital, pushing Jan over the edge of anxiety and annoyance. Afterwards, they both quickly make their exits. Jan arrives at the hospital all kinds of annoyed not to have heard about Ashley's new beau from the source. Ashley pulls Jan aside, but her mother still goes off saying her daughter is moving too quickly as she was just engaged. Ashley says putting herself out there is teaching her about herself. Jan hopes she is taking things slowly. Andre calls his uncle from Orphe Jeans and asks him to join. Ted arrives to find his nephew already done with his meal. Andre says he is headed out of town for a photo shoot, but is uncertain based on the cancer of it all. Ted thanks his nephew and updates him on making peace with Carlton and Nicole. He says he is now giving himself permission to move on. Himself. Andre inquires, and Ted says he has a date tomorrow night with Shanice. Friday, January 16th, 2025. In today's BTG episode, Chelsea has major news to share with her family. Naomi feels pressured by Jacob. Isaiah comforts Eva. Things heat up for Ted and Shanice. Derek does not like what he sees. Read the last BTG recap. Bill blows up at Haley over Dani, and Kat shuts Eva down for interfering. Eva arrives at Uptown, upset. She takes back the importance of making amends with family. She rants about her bitch of a sister. They get a table. He thinks she's hot when she's on fire. She complains that the brat isn't capable of understanding, and she repeats that she won't try again with her sister. She's also mad at herself for even going to see Kat. Iz is surprised Ted didn't see this coming. Eva feels like a fool, but her guy disagrees. Isaiah supports her as she's feeling hurt because she always wanted a sister. Kat arrives home to Chelsea and complains about that fake little heifer of a sister, pretending to care about her family. Chelsea wants to listen, but is bursting with good news. She doesn't have the variant. They embrace and squee. Naomi and Jacob sit at the club, watching her dad with Haley. Naomi's trying to put aside the animosity. Naomi gets a call from Chelsea with the good news. She asks, "What about you?" Naomi pauses and says, "Nothing to worry about," she says with a smile. She invites her and Kat to the club to celebrate. Jacob hears this and thinks her results should be ready. He asks for her password so he can get the results. Her face loses its smile and tells him she needs to tell her dad the good news. She does so and is met with cheers. She tells her dad she hasn't gotten her test results back yet. Bill's surprised and offers to call the hospital to rush it. She refuses and wants to celebrate. She goes and he wants to call Dani. Haley says she wouldn't. She thinks Chelsea should share it. He argues. She thinks the women should celebrate together. At their own table, Jacob again wants to see results, but Naomi refuses since she wants to talk to the chef about the meal. At the hospital, Derek watches Ashley with Grayson, looking obviously unhappy. Grayson asks her out and she leaves. Grayson and Derek get into the elevator, and Derek grills Grayson about who he is to Ashley and what department he works in. He tells the man they've been friends for years. Derek says he has to go back up. He forgot his parking pass. It's awkward. Shanice and Ted awkwardly rip into each other's clothes, breathing heavily. She says she loves herself some dark chocolate. Ted stops things before they get too far. He thinks she's worth more than a quickie on the sofa. He wants to take her out to dinner with the Winterfest gift certificate. Dani rushes into the guest house with a hug for Chelsea, who wants to change who she is now that she feels she has a second lease on life. Dani offers to text the family about the news. At Orphe's, Andre calls his Uncle Ted to come by. He leaves a message. Back at the nurse's station at the hospital, Shanice is in a mood. Ashley tells her that her shirt is on inside out, and she becomes flustered and runs off. Once she's changed, Ashley tries to get the gossip from her. She shuts her down. Kat confronts Ted over Eva, drawing a firm line about loyalty and boundaries. The exchange leaves both shaken. Naomi continues hiding her new reality from her family, determined to keep control of the narrative. Vanessa surprises Kial with a bold proposition that could change their dynamic. Meanwhile, Jacob finds himself stuck between Elon and Marcel as tensions flare. The clash forces him to navigate dangerous territory carefully. At home, Tyrell shocks his fathers by taking an unexpected stance on a long-standing family tradition. The day ends with uncertainty hanging over multiple households. Dani lowers her guard with Bill and opens up emotionally. The moment leads to a surprising move that complicates their already tangled past. Haley senses pressure closing in and feels increasingly cornered. Vanessa's week takes a dark turn when something bad happens to her, raising serious concern. Joey passes critical information to Elon, who now holds a potential advantage. Elsewhere, two couples decide to take their relationships to the next level, signaling commitment amid chaos. While some bonds strengthen, others fray. The balance of power across Fairmont Crest begins to shift. Anita leans on Sharon for support as emotional strain catches up with her. Bill quietly uses money to ensure Tomas keeps his silence. The move raises questions about how far Bill is willing to go. Leslie confronts Shanice over Ted, pushing the rivalry into dangerous territory. Dani and Pamela turn their attention to Isaiah, seeing opportunity where others see risk. Ashley finally calls Derek out for his sabotage, forcing long-avoided truths into the open. Meanwhile, Jacob officially begins his undercover mission.